Welcome to another Disney Conversation. It's Friday, May the 12th, 2017. And before we get started, let's meet our unofficial Disney experts.
Hey guys, Splash here.
Hey guys, I'm Sparkles.
And T-Bone is out of town today. He is in Austin, Texas, taking in the sights. So we'll catch him next time.
The greatest steak is missing.
Let's get straight to the news. What do you say?
Yeah.
Bring it on.
All right, our first story is one that goes back to a little history. It looks like American Idol has found a new home, and that new home is called Disney World. After a one-year hiatus, American Idol's not only going new places, but it's being picked up by a new network, and it looks like Disney, which owns ABC, has picked up the show, and they're going to move production and mainly the audition process at the beginning to mostly at Disney World in Florida. What do y'all think about the return of American Idol?
I am so ready for it. That was definitely one of my favorite shows that I was playing. That was one of my favorite shows to watch. I mean, they might have already probably had the winners picked by the beginning, but still. Oh, it was such a good show.
I think that's neat. I hope that ABC can make it be competitive. I am kind of curious as to where they're going to put it at Walt Disney World. I mean, I'm sure they'll move it around, but that's going to bring in a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I'm interesting. It'll be interesting to see where it goes. Probably some at the studios and Magic Kingdom, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of the studios, I don't know if you remember, but between 2009 and 2014, they had actually something called the American Idol Experience at Disney Hollywood Studios. And while we were there during that time, I don't think we ever went. Do y'all remember?
We did not. We saw it. Well, I mean, walking by, but we never went and did it.
Well, which one of you are going to go try out for American Idol when we go to Disney next?
That'll definitely be Sparkles.
I don't know. Tyler might not be here, but he's a good candidate.
I don't know, Dad. I think you should do it.
Well, what do you think about American Idol in general? Does it need to make a comeback, and do you think it'll be successful on ABC?
I don't know about that. Just because things like The Voice and America's Got Talent have both gotten so much bigger, especially since American Idol ended, that it'll have a hard time, I think, getting back into that and getting like as many viewers as it had before, as well as trying to compete with the other two shows.
I think ABC is definitely going to have to change something. I think the way American Idol was before lasted a really long time, but I mean, they ended up losing ratings, and I think people, like Sparkles was saying, started watching The Voice and stuff like that. So I think they're going to have to do something to make themselves stay relevant. Definitely. I don't know what that is, but they're going to have to stay relevant.
What about the people on the show? I think I've heard some rumors that Ryan Seacrest will be back. I don't know if that's official or not, but he will be back to host it. But that most of the past judges are not available. I'm just curious, does anybody off the top of your head come off as somebody that would be good as a judge?
It definitely have to be someone big and someone that everybody knows of. But also saying as it's Disney, they'd probably have to be more of a family-friendly person.
I don't know. I do think it would be cool if Ryan Seacrest was the MC again. I think they should have someone that could step into the Simon Cowell role. You know, just that one
hard jump.
Yeah, just
it would be hard to replace Simon Cowell. I mean, he was very unique, I think, to that role.
Well, I don't think someone could just step in and replace him, but I think they need someone like that who, when they say the new American Idol, for me personally, when I thought of American Idol, I thought of Simon Cowell while he was on it. So you need someone to kind of be the face of it like that.
He
They also
seemed to
need-
me. Oh, I'm sorry, Allison. Go
Sorry, I
ahead.
was gonna say they also need someone to face off with Simon Cowell and try to be able to be almost equal to him because he is on America's Got Talent now, I think. So that'll be hard.
Right. And you know, Simon Cowell was probably, whether you liked him or not, he was a judge.
Mhm.
He didn't try to be a mentor or a friend up there. I mean, he really relished that role of putting people in their place when he didn't think they did good. Do y'all remember that? I mean, he was
Yes,
pretty
he
Yeah.
hard.
really did. And I
Oh.
think they need someone like that. You know, I think that should be a part of the show. But I guess we'll see.
It'll be interesting, and we'll get to see Disney World in the backdrop of all the auditions and stuff. So that'll be fun.
That'll be
too.
cool. In the
Yeah.
article for it, it says the reason they're doing it at Disney World, I guess it's just like from the writer's point of view, but it said like the people who audition will probably get spending money to get a Dole Whip or two for a job well done.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go to our next story. Today is May the 12th. It's
Yes,
Friday.
It is.
And
It's a
that
big day.
it's a big day at the Disney World Park at Magic Kingdom because tonight is the very first premiere for the new fireworks show called Happily Ever After. And Happily Ever After is going to be live streamed. We'll get to actually see it through the Disney Parks blog. If you look for hashtag Disney Parks Live, you'll find it online. It starts at 7:55 our time, which is Central Time, 8:55 p.m. Eastern Time. What do you think, guys? I mean, last night was sad. Wish's last show, and from what I saw on Twitter and places, the park was packed for the last night of Wishes. I wonder what it's going to be like tonight for Happily Ever After.
Well, I was on Twitter a minute ago, and people have already started camping out for it hours ago.
Oh yeah.
So I would imagine there's going to be quite a crowd for it.
Yeah, I think it's going to take a lot to be able, because Wishes is a song, at least for me, whenever I think of Disney, I think of Wishes. So they're going to have to do well with it, but I think it is going to be a good show. And as Splash said, people are already camping out like a long time ago, and they already have merchandise for it. I mean, I've seen t-shirts and mugs, and then the map for Magic Kingdom now has Happily Ever After on it. So they've done a good job marketing it, but I'm excited to see what it is.
You know, they're saying that this is going to be the biggest firework production that Disney has ever done, which Wishes was pretty spectacular, in my opinion. And so is the one at Epcot. So if this one is as good as they're saying it is, I'm pretty excited to see it.
Well, are you guys going to tune in online tonight to see it broadcast?
I will be. I'm not missing it.
Yes.
All right. Looking forward to that.
Mhm.
All right. Our next story. Let's see. This week it was announced that Disneyland in California is now the most Instagram spot in the whole world. Does that surprise you?
No. I had friends actually there just I think last week, and that's all I saw all over, and everything is just pictures of Disneyland, videos of Disneyland. I mean, it's everywhere.
Well, Disney World made the top 10 without cheating. I mean, you may already know. Where do you think they fell in the list?
Oh gosh.
Instagram overall, top 10, so it's not top 5.
Top 10 places. Where is Disney World? Disneyland's number 1, most Instagram place in the world. Where do you think Walt Disney falls on the list? World.
It has to be top 5.
I'm saying 3 or 4.
I'm going to say.
Whenever you go to Disneyland, yeah, that's what you do is you take pictures and post them for everybody to see.
I'm so that's a tough one. I have to say 3 or 4 also. I'm going to say more 3 than 4, but it's got to be in there somewhere.
Okay, it's number 3, so you guys are right in the ballpark.
Air 5 Alley.
What in the world, and literally, what in the world do you think is number 2?
Coachella.
No, it's got to be in Europe. I'm going to say probably the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you didn't cheat and look at the story, but the Eiffel Tower
really
is
didn't.
Correct, sir.
See,
you are right.
Well, that
Really?
makes sense because I knew it had to be something over there across the pond.
Well, we're going to let you pretend like you didn't know the answer to that. That's okay.
Hey, okay. I didn't
But
cheat.
I will say this, Mr. Splash. If you got that right, hats off to you.
Well, I am graduating college tomorrow, so there is that. I am smart.
Sparkles, you want to debate that? We can take a few minutes and debate.
Yes. No. I was just gonna say that I'm reading through the thing now, and Coachella is one of them during 2 weeks. But still,
Well,
it's
overall, now you're looking at U.S. I think. Looking at the list, Disneyland was 1, Eiffel Tower 2, Walt Disney World 3, South Beach, Florida was 4th. The Berlin Wall in Germany was number 5. The
Wow.
Las Vegas Strip was
Mhm.
number
Yeah.
6.
Yeah.
Big Ben there in London was 7.
Yeah.
Times Square, New York was 8. The real Notre Dame in France was 9. And Oktoberfest in Germany was number 10. That's the most Instagram places worldwide.
I'm surprised Times Square is as low as it is.
Yeah.
I really thought
I
that
figured
would
it'd
be
be
higher.
above.
Yeah. I mean, I thought Times Square would be higher than like South Beach, but I don't
Yeah.
know. Guess not.
None of it surprises me though. When you go places like that, that's something that you just gotta share with everybody else. Especially like the main bulk of people who are on Instagram, aka young adults and teens, they're gonna post about it.
Okay. Real quick, I didn't realize Disneyland was number 1 by such a huge margin.
Oh my gosh.
It has double the amount of Instagram tags that the second place Eiffel Tower does.
Goodness.
It has 14 million, and the Eiffel Tower only has 7 million.
I wonder if that's because the culture in California is so much that they're just more into the social media.
Oh yeah.
Well,
than
that's
maybe
probably
I
true.
wonder
Yeah,
if that's why.
I could see that. Those Californians, man.
Plus Disneyland's an easy access kind of one park thing to get into. Oh yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. Californians.
Well, good job, California Disneyland. Let's go to our next story. Let's talk about an auction. There's an auction coming up, and it's a pretty special Disney auction in that I'll tell you what, let's go back to a little history. Back in 1953, I think that was before you two were born.
By a few years.
I think it was before I was born too. Back in 1953, Walt Disney himself began brainstorming ideas for a new amusement park, which he would later call Disneyland. He thought about there being a train station, a Main Street square, a princess castle, a pirate ship, and he even thought about a rocket. And he wanted to get investors on board because he had big plans for this place called Disneyland. And so he got an artist whose name was Herb Ryman, who translated all these ideas that Walt had into a map, into a drawing. And it was the first drawing of Disneyland. Well, it's going to go up for auction. This original drawing by Mr. Ryman is going up for auction next month and is thought to be worth over $1 million. What do you think? Is it worth $1 million? And would you like to have that hanging in your living room?
Heck
I
yeah.
would. Oh, definitely. As far as it being worth $1 million, if you'll send me your credit card information, I'll gladly make a bid.
Well, Mr. College graduate, we'll let you do that on your own.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think that would, I mean, for someone like us who's as invested in Disney and just enjoys it wholeheartedly like we do, I would love something like that. You know, but for $1 million, I'm going to have to let it pass.
Yeah.
Sparkles, what do you think?
I think it's a really, really pretty drawing. I love that. But I think if you're getting that, you probably might have more money than you need because that's crazy. But I also believe it because that's historic at this point. I don't know. Worth it.
See, I think what Disney should do is take stuff like that, like collector's items, and put it at Disneyland in the Magic Kingdom and let people go look at it.
Yeah.
Because I would love to see that.
Like a Disney museum.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I would too. Well, let's find out who gets it. And there's nothing to say if Walt Disney Corporation doesn't own it, maybe they'll buy it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So we'll check that out next month.
That'll be interesting.
All right. Our next story comes from DizDining.com, and they did a top 7 Magic Kingdom changes for 2017 article this past week, where they listed 7 things that we can expect to be a little different. So I thought we'd just talk about that list. Number 7, the return of Stitch. We've been to Tomorrowland many times, and we've done Stitch, and sometimes we've gone in and it hasn't worked, and they've closed it some. But it's making a return. What do you think? Do y'all care about the Stitch attraction, and do you want to do it again? There's talk about it going away.
Oh. That's something that it's almost like the Laugh Floor that normally has short waiting times. And it's kind of a quick little ride, but it's good. I don't know. I like it, but I almost feel like that's only really there. Like the Laugh Floor is something special. We always go to that. But I feel like this is something that probably could be replaced just because once you've done it once, it's one of those rides where, well, I guess since everything else is booked and that's only 10 minutes, we can go there. So, I mean, I guess I'll miss it, but I feel like it could be easily replaced with a really good attraction.
See, okay, Sparkles, I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. I don't think you can compare Stitch's Great Escape to the Laugh Floor.
Maybe you can't. But
I mean, you're right. And the wait time's not always short for the Laugh Floor, but that's something you just can't replace because it's different every time and it's unique to that crowd. But, you know, we've done Stitch's Great Escape a few times, and it's, I don't know. I would not be sad if they put something bigger and better there.
Yeah.
Personally. But what do you think, Dad?
Those seats, think about the Stitch attraction itself is pretty involved. I mean, there's a lot of technology in those seats and the 3D, or I guess they call it 4D, because stuff is squirting on you. You feel him running around the room. You know how they do.
You can feel the smell of the chili cheese dog.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. They do the smells too.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I think the last 2 times we've been in there, part of the attraction didn't work or the seats didn't work. It's probably time to either fix it or get rid of it, I think.
Yeah.
Plus, I think that's also a thing of that's really scares small kids sometimes, which is, I think, what the main bulk of the people who go in there are. And so when the kids get scared, normally the parents get mad. So that's probably also a big reason why not many people like it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, time will tell. There's lots of talk about Tomorrowland being changed up some.
Yeah.
Let's see, number 6. The Hall of Presidents is going to be updated with the Donald. What do you think?
Donald. I'm excited just to see the Donald. I'm curious to see what he's going to say because, all the presidents talk. So I'm curious just to see what his monologue is going to be. But
it's going to be huge.
It's going to be huge. Sure. It's going to be fantastic.
Huge. No, I don't know. I almost am afraid because they have to. It's the Hall of Presidents. But I'm afraid people going there won't exactly appreciate that. They won't like that. It has to happen.
They can get over it.
I don't know.
I am excited because we didn't get to do the Hall of Presidents on the last trip. So, I mean, it's, not radically different every time.
It's cool.
I'd like to see it with President Trump in there, just to see it.
Well, we'll do that next time. That'll be interesting. Number 5, security checkpoints. Right. And you guys know that it's a pet peeve of mine about these security checkpoints. So we don't ever carry bags in.
You're right. We are bagless every time.
Bagless.
Because it can be a wait while mom goes through and gets her purse checked or whatever. So we've talked her into being bagless, and it hasn't really bothered us. But it must be an issue because they're now moving the security checkpoint at Magic Kingdom back to the Ticket and Transportation Center, or if you're at one of the Magic Kingdom parks like the Contemporary or one of those that are on the monorail line, they're going to do it at the hotel as you leave. And that way, when you get to the park, you've already been through security. What do you think?
So I work in security, and so this is something that we have to think about in what I do. And I'm kind of surprised that they've waited this long to do that. I think that it's going to help speed up getting through the gate to get into the Magic Kingdom. Of course, that means you have to get there early to get through the Ticket and Transportation Center, but I think it's going to help the rush right there at the gates to the Magic Kingdom, honestly.
Yeah. I honestly think it's a good idea because it says in here, like, Cinderella's castle isn't so close, so it makes it easier on your emotions. I agree with that because you have to ride the boat or ride the monorail into Magic Kingdom. And so right when you get off, I feel like, at least for me, even though we've been there a lot, the first thing I want to get in as fast as I can. And so I think that'll make it easier. But there also is a downside because, like I said, I was looking through this and it says it makes it a lot harder to resort hop. I know we like to do a lot of resort hopping. Well, now you got to get checked.
Yeah.
Resorts, and that'll make it hard. And it takes more time. So
yeah, unless you're still bagless like we are.
That's true.
Now, the one downside to this, well, another downside because slowing down resort hopping, the monorails and the ferries are going to run slower.
Yeah.
They're going to hold them up more at the resorts to allow more people to get on. And so that's going to slow things down a little bit, in my opinion.
So then if you're at Magic Kingdom, then it makes it harder for you to get back because they're so slow. But yeah.
So I feel like they're going to hold transportation a little longer at the stations, but we'll see. Sorry, do what, Dad?
No, well, okay. So you have that, but as a benefit, there will be less. Okay, there will be less crowds at the front of Disney World, Magic Kingdom, because it's just whoever gets off the boat.
Right. Exactly.
Or in the monorails. I mean, that's the only people that'll be going through the gate, and as they'll process those people, we will probably walk straight up to the ticket style without having to wait after having already gone through that.
Right.
And so they're going to start opening Main Street early as well. The last time we were there was the first time we've ever been at the park at sunrise.
Yeah.
Oh my
it
God.
was quite an experience.
It was amazing.
It was sunrise, but we still missed the opening show that they do because it was like at 7 a.m. and we got there about 7:15, I think.
Yeah. It was close, but it was already done. And I mean, there was still I mean, I shouldn't call it a crowd because the amount of people that were there is not
No.
near as many as normal. But I mean, there were still quite a few people there. I mean, it's not like we were alone on Main Street by any means. But
Mickey and the
You can take a
characters.
picture of just you in the castle. Sorry.
Well, Mickey and the characters are usually there at the train station to welcome everybody in.
right.
Well, now that show is either done away with or is going to move to a different type of show inside the park, and they're going to let people go in to Main Street.
Mhm.
And you can go into the shops and the Starbucks and all that and hang around Main Street before they let you into the park.
Right.
So Main Street will be open as kind of the entrance before anything else. Like, will they have everything roped off?
They'll have a rope at the end of Main Street down there. They won't let you
Okay.
go past Main Street.
Okay.
So I guess the underlying deal here is that I'm going to have y'all up at 6 a.m. the next time we go.
It's gonna have to be 5, otherwise we're still not gonna make it.
I'll be there. This is interesting, though. Just one more thing that I was thinking about. This must mean that Disney is taking some threats pretty seriously, because obviously the largest crowd of people at Walt Disney World is going to be there at the Magic Kingdom.
Before it opens, there'll be
Before
a
it
huge
opens.
crowd there. Yeah, right.
So, I mean, they must be considering, I mean, this is not nice to think about, but the fact that if there was going to be an attack there, which I'm sure they get threats all the time, but that's going to be one of the main spots.
Yeah.
They've really
So-
stretched out that pool of people, haven't they?
Right. So they must be really cracking down on that.
Well, it'll be interesting to go through that and to see if it's any better or not. What's the number one change? Well, it has to do with May the 12th. Today is Happily Ever After, of course, the new fireworks show. So that's a big deal. All right. Any final thoughts about changes? Have you heard of any other changes coming up at the Magic Kingdom or Disney World?
I guess not that I know of, besides, like I said, they have already changed everything from Wishes to Happily Ever After.
And there's that little place called Pandora that's going to open up too.
Just Pandora. Yeah.
Of course, that's not Magic Kingdom, but that's Disney World. That's a whole different story, and I'm looking forward to seeing that as well.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
excited.
All right. Hey, well, it's time for our last news story of the week, and it's not a fun one.
Dang.
No.
It doesn't have anything to do with Disney either, even though it's similar in that it is a park ride that caused a girl's death in England this past week. But a schoolgirl, actually, I believe, was on a school trip. Even went to a theme park there in Europe and was on a rafting ride, and she stood up during the ride to change seats with a classmate.
Oh my God.
When they hit a bump, and she was thrown over the side and was then dragged underwater by the current, and she drowned. A very, very sad thing. I feel horrible for her family. I can't imagine. You know, we've heard several stories over the years of people having passed away at a theme park when you think it'd be happy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But what do you think? I mean, it seems. What do y'all think about the rule stuff? Because obviously she broke a rule by standing up.
Yeah.
What do you think about this story?
I think one thing they need to really reinforce is, and not even just here, but everywhere, that means Disney. I think Disney actually has them, but they need to have restraints on those seats, because I'm looking at this picture and it doesn't look like there is. And I think that could solve it, because if she was not able to get up, it would have not, that situation probably wouldn't have occurred. So especially with things like this, with running water, where if you fall in, you're done. They really need to go ahead and at least get seatbelts or something to hold you down. That's not safe.
Yeah, that's crazy. You know, if she had done that at a different part of the ride where maybe it wasn't so turbulent or something, that could have maybe been avoided. But I mean, that's just
It's really tough. And when you talk about restraints, I'm
Mhm.
sure they're thinking, well, you don't want to put too heavy of a restraint on someone. What if the raft flipped over?
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And it's just,
So like a seat belt maybe, but that's hard.
I mean, you'd want to think that they would know better than to stand up on a ride like that that's free floating. I mean, and that you could easily fall out of. But that's really sad.
The last thing I ever think about when the five of us go to Disney World is one of us not coming back. So
Yeah, I agree.
it just and not to bring up bad things, but the whole thing with the alligator last year, and even here in Texas at Six Flags, was it a year or maybe two ago? A woman fell out of a roller coaster and fell
Yeah,
40 or
There's
50
great ones,
feet.
yeah. Yeah, she literally flew out of the roller coaster. But then again, her restraints weren't secure.
And she
So
tried
you
to
can
test
have restraints, but it doesn't guarantee that you're safe. It certainly reduces the risk of things happening, but it just doesn't. That doesn't even solve the problem completely.
I get a kick out of watching your mom every time you guys get on the roller coaster. She right before it takes off, she's talking to y'all. Is your restraint tight? What is
screaming
Yeah.
from the front to the back of the cart. Make sure you're in good.
Yeah,
I
and
know
if you throw your hands up, like on Big Thunder Mountain or whatever, she can't handle it.
Put your hand down.
Yeah,
Well, and then you hear a story about the lady at Six Flags, and it makes you wonder, should we be more concerned about safety on these rides?
well, I think you should always be concerned about safety, but there's a distinct difference between Six Flags Over Texas and Walt Disney World.
Oh yeah.
With the way that the cast members at Disney operate compared to the ride operators at Six Flags.
Just 'cause
And I've experienced both enough to say that I would definitely trust cast members more than I would the people at Six Flags.
that I don't know if this is true. It happened a long time ago. I don't want to say anything false, but I heard that the woman who flew off tried to tell the person there that her restraint wasn't on good, and the person there said no, it's fine, and that's when everything went downhill. So I feel like if it were at Disney people would definitely stop it and make sure that you're good before you go, even if it was just a slight doubt. Like they would be there to help you and tell you, make sure that you're okay. Yeah.
Well, I tell you, I just, again, to the family that lost that poor girl, my deepest condolences. It hurts. It hurts my heart to think that something like that could happen.
Yeah.
It does. I mean, well, and we were even, you already brought it up once, but when we were at Caribbean Beach after that alligator incident, it just, I don't know, it kind of changes your perspective a little bit when you're hanging out there.
Well, and there's water everywhere there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that happened over, well, let's see. Where did
that was over at the Grand Floridian.
Yeah, it was the Grand Floridian. They had signs up saying "Don't swim. There are alligators," but they still went kind of towards the edge of the water and got in, and it happened.
Well, I hate to end on such a depressing note because that's really sad.
Yeah.
So I'll end instead on some good news. According to my clock here, we're just a few hours away from seeing the new show live streamed from Disney World. So
I'm excited.
We'll do that.
Sparkles, you have to live tweet it. Okay.
Oh,
I expect that.
Well, Splash, Sparkles, it's been another Disney conversation. Thanks for tuning in with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
It's been fun.
All right. Well, next week, maybe we'll have T-Bone back, and I think we're going to trade places. And I'm pretty sure Splash is going to splash down in Florida, but not at Disney World. You're going
No,
fishing next week.
I'll be on a fishing trip. I'll be hanging out with the alligators
Probably.
on the St. Johns River. So
Oh.
I'll be missing out.
Well, we'll miss you. And so until our next Disney conversations, you guys have a great week.
Bye, guys. See y'all later.
Adios.